Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video I wanted to do, okay, so you guys will have probably already seen by now, I did do a more in-depth review of the Soft Glam palette. But basically in that video I just did a really in-depth review about the Soft Glam palette, what I liked, what I didn't like. It's kind of inspired me to do a 1 month 1 palette thing, even though I said that it was quite hard for me to do a 1 month 1 palette. So what I think I might do is my Monday videos I'm going to dedicate to the 1 month 1 palette. So you guys will get 4 videos a month using the one eyeshadow palette, creating different looks with this palette, more dramatic looks, more simple looks. And then my Thursday videos will be something different, like a foundation review or like a declutter video or a favorites video, that kind of thing. So I wanted to kick the first month off with a bang, and I wanted to do an entire month of tutorials using the Subculture palette, because this is by far one of the most controversial palettes out there right now. We all know the fuckery that went down with this. I will link Beauty News' video down below if you guys have no idea what's been going on with this palette, if you've been living under a rock. I will leave Beauty News' video down below. My girls Kat and Haley debunked this entire palette and all of the drama that went along with it. So I will link their video down below, and I feel like we should just get on with the video. Okay, so here is the Subculture palette, and when you open it up, here is what all of the colors look like. Now, I've already created some looks in some videos using this, but I did want to obviously dip back in and use this palette, because obviously a lot of people are having trouble using this palette, so I feel like I might be able to help. I don't know, let's just go. If you guys are excited for this series, please give this video a thumbs up and let me know down below in the comments what palettes or what other palettes you would like me to do a 1 month 1 palette video about, because I've got a ton of palettes, but none of them are relevant if you guys don't want to see it, so yeah. So first of all, I'm going to go in and prime using my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This is what I use with every single other eyeshadow palette. I'm basically going to put every single eyeshadow palette through the same test. I'm going to be using this concealer to prime my lids. And I do want to point out that I am allowing myself to use single eyeshadows and glitters and pigments if I need to. I'm going to try and keep all of my looks that I create with this palette in this palette, but if I'm struggling for a little bit of inspiration, then I will allow myself to go and use those products as well if I need to. So you just do 1 and 1. This is super full coverage. I'm sure all of you know about Shape Tape, and I'm just going to fill it out. Also guys, I shaved down my beard. I kept my mo and my little goatee here, so what do we think? I feel like it's a little bit porn star-ish, but I think it looks alright. Also gonna set that down with the MAC Studio Fix powder in N4. Now for those who don't know, the Subculture palette is infamous for its pigmentation. A lot of people were struggling to use it because it was almost too pigmented and the eyeshadows were quite unstable. I'm setting down this base with a really good amount of powder, because if we don't set it down and there's any tackiness to my lids, the eyeshadows are not going to blend and they're going to be a fucking mess. Okay, so I don't really have an idea of what look I want to do, but I do know that I eventually want to incorporate this kind of section of the palette, the blues and the yellows. First I'm going to dip into the shade Roxy. Now this was the one shade that the internet went fucking crazy over because it is so ridiculously pigmented. You can see how much product is on my brush, and even when I tap it off, there is still a lot on. I might get a bigger blending brush. This is a Stellazzi Crease Blender L215 brush. I prefer this one for a transition color. Alright, so I just dipped in once to the palette, and that is how much product you get. And I'm just gonna pop that through the crease. Now, a lot of people were having trouble with this palette because they found that the shades were way too pigmented, but Norvina and Anastasia say otherwise, okay? They say that it was basically how they wanted the palette to be. They wanted the palette to be super pigmented, even more pigmented than the Modern Renaissance palette. This isn't verbatim, this is just I just remember watching Instagram stories of Norvina and Anastasia justifying how they made this palette and why they made this palette the way that it is. These days, everyone knows how to do makeup, everyone wants pigmentation, and then they gave them pigmentation, but in a fucked formula, and then it backfired. I don't know where I was going with that, so let's just keep on blending. So that shade Roxy actually blended really nicely. It doesn't look harsh, it doesn't look crazy. Okay, so now I'm gonna take that smaller Stellazzi brush. This is the L216. I'm gonna focus that product on my outer third because I do want to put fudge, which is like a darker chocolate brown, on this outer part, and I need a transition for it to blend into. Also, please excuse these two pimples here. I don't know where the fuck they came from. I like did my brows a couple of nights ago, and usually I break out around my brow area when I like pluck my brows. Like, I don't know. It's so weird. Okay, taking a Stilazzi L218 brush. This is kind of like a more fluffy crease brush slash fluffy pencil brush kind of deal. I'm gonna dip into the shade, oops, there. I'm gonna dip into the shade Fudge just like once or twice because once again, get a lot of pigment. I'm just gonna pop this just on this outer part here. Now when I first used this palette, I do remember having to do like the darker shades first and then blending them out with the lighter shades. I found that that worked the best, but we're kind of going backwards a little bit. Like we're doing the lighter shades to darker shades, which is what you would usually do with any other fucking palette. Okay, let me zoom you guys in. Can you see how it's looking just a little patchy? Like otherwise this other side blended out quite well. So alright, I'm gonna take a little bit of Roxy and I'm just going to go over. Just fucked it up. Alright, I'm gonna go back into Fudge and I'm really kind of pointing that into my crease. Okay, I'm gonna dip into the shade All Star, which is like this purplish burgundy kind of shade. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade. And then I'm just gonna pat that over the top of Fudge a little bit. Okay, so I know that this eye looks messy and this eye looks kind of cute. I'm gonna cut the crease in a minute and then it's all gonna work out just fine, I hope. I think that's dark enough for today. Alright, so once again, taking some of my Shape Tape in light medium. I'm gonna grab a L'Oreal, I think it's just like a concealer brush. I'm gonna use this to cut the crease. And then I'm just going to kind of diffuse the concealer on that outer part just a little bit. For those who don't know the whole 1 month, 1 palette situation, I got this idea from my good girlfriend Kat. She does this exact same series on her individual channel. She does like these videos once a month, but she uses up a palette for an entire month to try and hit pan, or just to see how she can create different looks with it, and she kind of documents her journey. I felt like I wanted to do the same thing, but I wanted to kind of create tutorials for you guys. I was just feeling super inspired by her. So Kat, if you're watching this, shout out to you, girl. Now the only thing that I've already noticed with like Adorn, Cube, and Electric, these 3 shimmer shades here, is that they seal so fucking quickly. It's ridiculous. You can dip your brush in it and it's sealed. You won't get as much color payoff, so I've already had to like scrape off a layer of Electric, which is really kind of, I don't know, it's kind of disappointing when you're paying, you know, 70, 80 bucks for a palette. Well, it's, you know, here in Australia anyway. I did get this palette in PR, so I didn't like physically pay for it myself, but I'm not gonna not talk shit about it if it's shit, so you guys know that. So I'm just taking that with my finger and I'm having to dip in quite a few times because the shade is sealed in the pan. Like if I show you it right now, it looks disgusting. I think my lights may be blurring it out, but it is like, it's super sealed. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna try to pick that up with a brush. Where's the pigment at? And now this entire pan has pretty much sealed. Let me show you. Like, it's bad, you guys. It is bad. Alright, I'm gonna take that Stilazzi L216, the second brush that we use, pat some Roxy over this edge here just to blend it a little more. Alright, so I'm gonna do some liner. I'm just gonna do a thin line across my entire lid. I'm gonna take the NYX matte liquid liner for this. I'm just quickly gonna curl my lashes up to Jesus and pop on some mascara. I'm gonna use the Tarte, what is this? No.1 mascara. Now for lashes, I'm gonna take my Bouquet Beauty lashes in the style Naomi. These are like my favorite lashes of all time. Don't tell the others. We just had like a huge 4th of July sale, so make sure that you guys are subscribed to the mailing list. That way you guys are the first to find out when we do sales. Also make sure that you follow me on Instagram and my brand's Instagram for further details as well. Oh my god, Jackie Aina is such a hot bitch. Yes, girl. Get it. This is the reason why these are my best-selling lashes, honestly. How fucking beautiful are they? I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to ask you if you're okay. I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to be there, you need me. Oh my god, these lashes. Actually, before I forget, let me just give you some details about this palette. So obviously, there are 14 shades, each shade containing... It says the net weight is 0.7 grams. Usually eyeshadows have about 1 to 2 grams of product in them. So I think that may be a misprint, or maybe I'm just like reading this wrong, I don't know. This palette is cruelty free and it has a 6-month shelf life, which is really, really short, but I guess that's because some shadows, like these more foiled shadows, have ingredients in them that can draw moisture in the air and therefore cause like spoiling or mold growing, that kind of thing. I mean, look, like I've never had mold growing on this palette. I've had this palette for over 6 months. I've had this palette for like over a year now. And some of you might think, oh well, that's why like the shade Electric is sealing, but it's been sealing since day one. So I think that's just the formula. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face off camera, and then I will come back once I'm finished and give you guys my thoughts so far about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. Okay guys, so I just finished doing the rest of my makeup off camera. For lips, I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Liquid Lipstick in Hudson, and I love how this entire look is going together. Like, I feel like it's so monochromatic, it's so on trend. Okay, I blended 2 shadows on my lower lash line. I use Roxy and All Star, which is this one here. Honestly, I think, actually wait, let me put some light on my waterline, hold on. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, I used those 2 shades on my lower lash line, found that All Star. So I applied All Star a little bit too heavy on my lower lash line here, and it fucked up a little bit. Just like a little bit. Otherwise, I don't think that these shadows were too hard to work with. So yeah, so far, this palette is okay. We know it's problematic, but I'm just trying to make it work. I hope you guys enjoyed the first installment of my 1 month. Why is the dog crying? Oh, I must go outside. I hope you guys enjoyed the first installation of my 1 month, 1 palette series. If you guys have any other palette requests, like I said, leave them down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And before you leave, hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and hit the video that's over my face right now. You might as well just click over the next video. I'll wait here. I'll just be waiting. I'll wait for you in the next video. How about that? Okay? Okay. Alright. I'll see you there.